Hello and welcome. It is I, Iron Raiden, back yet again with another new topic of discussion. Now, I figured it was a pretty good time to go ahead and delve a little bit deeper into the Batman and seeing where I lie with it and if it's shaping up to be a decent film or not. Now, of course, we can't tell entirely until we see the film itself because the history of the Batman films is particularly interesting just because of, well, let's just say there's always been controversies, if you will, when it comes to the casting of these films. That's always been the main thing, is that ever since the Michael Keaton days of Batman, Mr. Mom be like, there's no way in hell that he can be Batman and this and that, and sure enough, we got what we got with that film. He knocked it out of the park. Same thing that happened later on with the Nolan films, and people like Heath Ledger and the Joker be like, really, Brokeback Mountain, he's gonna be the Joker? Yeah, okay. And then that's definitely spoke for itself. One of the best performances out of any comic book film we've ever seen. I mean, he talk about an ultimate transformation. I mean, everything's been said, but the praise is ultimately justified for what he brought to that role. That is for sure. Same thing with even the Snyderverse Batman with Ben Affleck. Be like, Daredevil, we've been through this before. Why are we casting him in this? But ever since then, I mean, we've seen Ben Affleck establish himself as a not only a quality actor for films like Argo, but also him just being a director as well. The Town and stuff like that. I mean, he proved himself to be a legitimate talent, and I was down for that, and I do feel like he did a really great job in Batman v Superman, though his run ultimately was a bit of a flop, and that's not all entirely on him, just because of a lot of what he was given and just how things went. It ultimately didn't really work in his favor. I mean, even to the point to where Ben Affleck got tired. I was just like, I'm just worn out. I can't keep doing this anymore. And it's a bit of a shame. I really would have liked to have seen his Batman be fulfilled a lot more, because I do feel like that he actually was a good choice, and he did bring a lot of intrigue to his version. And so we arrived to now with the Batman set to be released this year. And Robert Pattinson, of course, people like, really, sparkly vampire Edward Cullen himself is going to be the Batman. It's like, okay, whatever. Now, for me personally, all right, just to break it down a little bit, I reacted where I said to where on paper he would not be my first choice. And I look past the fact that, yeah, he was in Twilight, but even he himself made fun of those films. Even he didn't take those that seriously. And since then, he had done other smaller projects to prove himself. Yeah, he is a good, solid actor. There's no denying that. I'm not taking that away from him at all. Obviously, like I said, on paper, probably wouldn't be my first choice. I probably would have gone with someone else, just who I would like to have seen in that role particularly. But it's all well and good. Like, I didn't cast judgment on that casting at all, because, like I said, we've been through this many a times with many past Batman iterations where we judge it so harshly. I mean, we've been through it so many times now with each era practically, to the point where if there's a casting decision in any Batman lore or any Batman film, then just don't judge it right off the bat. No pun intended. But yeah, it's true. It's like we really cannot cast judgment so quickly. I mean, with most things, sure. But with Batman in particular, like I said, we've been down the road so many different times to where we can't just judge it based off the casting alone. We have to see the final product in and of itself in order to fully grasp what they're going for here. And also for me, with the first like full-length trailer, like the one from DC Fandom, I actually did do a reaction to that. I was pleasantly surprised at just how well crafted that trailer was. Now, of course, a trailer is a trailer. I mean, you can have good trailers, bad trailers for great films, great trailers for bad films, bad trailers for good films. It's just, there's no really judging that, of course. But as a trailer alone, it was very, very well done. And I personally got rather hyped just in that moment. So they got me with that. And of course, Matt Reeves being at the helm, being the director. Honestly, what he did with the Planet of the Apes trilogy, easily one of the best trilogies over the last several decades, even probably underrated to some degree. Just how they managed to revamp that series and really added so many layers as that trilogy went on to where you get to War for the Planet of the Apes. It's just like, wow, that was really some ultimate, solid, just all around fascinating story, and the level of detail, and not to mention just the CGI, Andy Serkis's performance, just absolutely unbelievable. Some of the best stuff. So him being at the helm of this is definitely a good thing. And like I said, everything I've seen so far is really, really great. Now, supposedly there's a leak, I guess, of a funeral scene from the film. I looked at that just earlier, and I really enjoy the tone that we're getting from this. I do enjoy the set design, just the look and feel of it is really, really good. It really does feel like a true, honest to God, Gotham City and how it should feel and all that stuff. And yeah, I'm still intrigued. We'll see if they manage to pull it off. Now, the runtime was also announced, saying it's about 2 hours and 45 minutes ish, like so, damn near 3 hours. Which, I mean, that can always go either way. It all just depends on the film. It all depends on execution. If you're willing to go with it, if it's dragging to it, that just all depends. I personally am not really putting too much stock into that. So we'll just see what happens. If it flows, if it feel like it just breezes on by, that's all well and good. So we'll just have to see what happens. I mean, should movies be trying to shoot for being 3 hour epics all the damn time? No, we really don't need to be doing that. But again, it ultimately just depends on the film itself and what we're getting out of it. Now, I know with other castings like the Zoe Kravitz's, I don't really care for Zoe Kravitz all that much, her being Catwoman. And of course, race swapping is always an issue, like here and there. Again, that all really ultimately depends on certain elements. I mean, hell, she was betrayed by a black woman on the old TV show back in the day, so I can't really say anything about that. Like I said, Zoe Kravitz in general, I'm probably a bit overrated for me personally. I'll see what she does with it, so I'm not really going to cast a whole lot of judgment there. As far as the Riddler design, what they have going on with that, I mean, I see what they're going for. Now, I will say, as far as obviously what the Riddler should be, really finding ways to test Batman mentally and to and to like just play up like the ego of that character and what his ultimate goal is and this and that. It's very fascinating. There really is a lot you can do. Now, of course, we've had a few iterations of the Riddler, and a lot of people are saying that this suit. Now, with the suit, like I said, I see what they're going for. I personally, looking at it, I'm like, I mean, I don't know. Again, I'm just going to have to see the film by itself and to truly judge that. Would it be what I would have gone with? Probably not. I probably would have also found other interesting ways to have designed the costume myself, but like I said, that's a whole other discussion. But at face value, seeing it, I'm like, I'm not feeling it that much. But again, ultimately, it comes down to the character and just how they all execute it. So again, not to cast too much judgment at face value, but we'll just have to see what happens there. So I mean, so like I said, all that just thinking about all of it, you really cannot say that this film looks like dog crap. You like Robert Pattinson, psh, Zoe Kravitz, psh, the Riddler looks like a fucking looks like a fucking like crazy. Like, I mean, he looks kind of like a turtle. I mean, honestly, with the whole just get up in the hoodie and just like the way that looks, or the hood, and just I don't know. He looks kind of like that, so you can kind of poke fun at him a little bit. But ultimately, like I said, with what we've seen of the Batman, with the tone they're going for, with the director involved, I would say all in all, it's looking very promising. I would say there's very little to complain about unless we really want to nitpick it to hell. It's really 50-50 with any Batman film, with especially you follow the Nolan films. Like once an era ends of Batman and whatever comes next, obviously there's going to be a lot of expectations to go along with any new Batman film. But where my expectations are, I'm cautiously optimistic, but I would put more stock in it turning out to be a solid film overall. Like I said, for any Batman fan, there's really, I mean, as long as about 80, 90% of it is true, honest to God Batman, but that extra 10 to 20% is whatever creative stock the directors and producers, like whatever they put into it for a new version. As long as you get a certain balance right, then I mean, you're pretty much good to go. I mean, like I said, but ultimately speaking, I would say there's no reason to judge this harshly whatsoever. There really isn't. If it is, it's mostly nitpicking, I would say. So just judge it for yourself. I mean, it's not that much farther off. It like I said, it could be really 50-50. It truly is, as to whether it be good, great, or maybe even just in the middle. We shall see. But ultimately, I do believe it's shaping up to be a solid, enjoyable flick. So we'll just see what happens there. Anyway, yes, enough rambling from now on. Yeah, just figured I'd go ahead and give my general thoughts and how things are looking for the Batman, and possibly review once the film comes out. We shall see. But if you happen to be watching this, thank you very much. Well, my last few videos have been doing pretty decent. Like I said, for where I'm at, for what my expectations are, especially going on YouTube nowadays, it's a whole... you really do got to jump through a lot of hoops. You really got to just find your footing so much more so than what used to be back then. But a couple of videos recently did pretty well. I'm happy about that. And so, like, yeah, if you happen to be watching my videos at all, especially consistently, I do appreciate that. Any and all love will always be appreciated. So, yeah, just leaving it at that. Thank you very much. I am Iron Raven, and I am out.